Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Note Night in America, the President's Day edition. Hopefully, you all had a great weekend. We wrapped up another amazing virtual note buying workshop with a great group of students that went through it. And one of the great things that we came up with throughout the weekend is, I always try to figure out what I'm going to talk about the week before Note Night in America, and I hadn't really come up with it. Well, Friday night or Saturday morning, we were talking about this and literally came up with it. Like, oh my gosh, I should have done this a long time ago. But tonight's all about the perfect pitch book. We'll get to that in a second. But once again, thank you all for being here. Note Night in America, do these on a regular pretty much almost every Monday night, as long as I'm not traveling or anything like that. But for those of you that are joining us for the first time, welcome. We're glad to have you. We got a lot of great stuff to go through tonight for you. But there's a variety of different people on the call on these webinars that we host every Monday night. One of the things is we do have, obviously, note and real estate investors that are joining us. We have people interested in notes as well that are interested in either buying or selling or investing in. I did hit the record button. Yep, we're recording this call. It is also live streaming straight to YouTube as well. So you can watch it there. If you're watching there, awesome. Give us a shout out on the messages there. We also throw these replays videos up on our TV channel, WeCloseNotes.tv, where you can catch just about every one of our videos out there for replays, whether it's Note Night in America or our podcast stuff. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you're either following us on YouTube or Vimeo. That way, if you miss a webinar or miss a call or something like that, you'll be alerted of when we upload our newest replays for you. You can also listen to these replays for Note Night in America on our podcast, Note Night in America podcast. Glad to have it there. Along with that, many of you are probably familiar with our bigger podcast that we host basically throughout the day, or throughout the day, almost every day, is the Note Closer Show podcast. Over 400 plus episodes there, 200, actually just under 250,000 downloads now. We'd love for you to review, leave us a 5-star review and subscribe. Thank you so much. We had so many people this weekend leave us reviews on iTunes or on Amazon. So thank you again for everybody that left a review. But on the podcast, we got lots of great content, interviews, guests, like we had Elijah White with Serving Social Day talk about some different things. And then we also bring on different vendors on a regular basis, whether it's Quest Trust Company or Lawfulness Associates or Credit Sense or Madison Management. Just lots of great nuggets there for you as well. But before we dive into the main stuff, I want to go through a couple of events tonight. Literally, not tomorrow night, but Wednesday night in Tampa, we have the Tampa Note Closers Group. It's going to be a tripod of content between myself. We have Sean Yesner, who's a bankruptcy attorney coming from the Crushing Debt podcast. He's a bankruptcy attorney in the Tampa Bay area, going to come out, along with our buddy Tyler Sheff from the Cashflow Guys. So the three of us, plus now Here's Elise has done a great job putting the event together for the Tampa Note Closers Group. So it's going to be fun. The three of us there on a panel for everybody that's coming out. Pick your brains, talk about a couple hours of fun for everybody that comes out, and some great nuggets there as well. So stay tuned. We'll be sending an email out tomorrow night with exact location, things like this. Is a free event. There is no cost to attend the Tampa Note Closers Group. Thursday, the 28th. And so next Thursday, not this coming Thursday, but next Thursday, the 28th, the San Diego Note Closers Group will be meeting. I believe we're probably going to end up being at the Hard Rock Hotel downtown in San Diego. It's probably where we'll be meeting at. We're finalizing location on that, but we're kind of leaning towards that because that's the hotel we'll be staying at for the Traffic and Conversion Summit that I'm attending next Monday through Wednesday as well. Headed out to Tampa tomorrow, Wednesday morning to speak there Wednesday night, but then also be at the Innsbruck Resort for the New Media Summit, the podcasting summit. And then I also want to alert you guys, if you guys love to get a little note, March 6th is the day before the PodFest Expo kicks off. Tyler and I are going to be doing a half-day lunch and learn for basically from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Lunches included, so it's basically a 5 hours of you to come hang with us. We'll spend spending time on notes or finding deals, structuring your cash flow deals, raising capital, exit strategies. We're really pretty stoked about this lunch and learn. And like I said, lunch is included there. So Frank, awesome. We'll see you there Wednesday night. Good stuff. as well. So, and then we'll be in Orlando for the Podfest Multimedia Expo from March 7th through the 10th. I'm actually speaking there. We might have a few tickets to give away at the Lunch and Learn from our buddy Chris Kremisos from the Podfest Expo. He's surprised me and said, hey, I may have a couple extra spots if anybody wants to come hang out for a couple days at the Podfest Multimedia Expo. Our next fast track training is March 15th through the 17th. There is an and there because we do have another day for that, but that's the next available one, March 15th, 16th, and 17th. That is the last weekend of South by Southwest. We have Note Camp 7, 007 this time around, April 4th through the 8th. That is an online event there for you. And then we have our last fast track training of the first third of the year, April 19th through the 21st here in Austin. And then the following weekend is the Note Mastermind, also here in Austin, Texas, the 26th, 28th. So we've got a pretty go East Coast, West Coast, and here in Austin in between as well for everybody. So yes, it promises to be a very busy next 30 days for us with a variety of different, well, not just 30 days, next 60 days, really 60 plus days are going to be very, very busy for us and for those that are around us looking to get some education. But big kudos to everybody that showed up this weekend. Thank you again so much. Our fast track training, John asked, is that's our basically that's our coaching. That's our one-on-one 3-day coaching. Come in, spend 3 days with us. It's a small group setting, 6 to 10 people mostly. Once you go through that, you're a part of the Note Mastermind that we meet 3 times a year. If you'd like to find more information, John, just drop me an email at scott@weclosenotes.com and we can schedule a phone call to talk about it. But it's our in-depth coaching, our 3-day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday coaching for everybody. All right. We do have a kind of a really special thing for those that might be new. We have a couple chapters left in our Loan Tales book. It's a story of 50 note investors and 50 different case studies. If you've got a story about a note deal, any type of note deal, doesn't have to just be non-performing. You got a performing note or a partial or a wraparound, a subject to. We had somebody talk about their hard money business is creating and originating notes that way. Residential, commercial, first, seconds. Get your story told. I'm really excited about those that have already signed up for a chapter. Like I said, we got 1 or 2 chapters still available for you. I'd love to have you. We're going to get this published. You don't even have to worry about writing your story. That's the beautiful thing. We have made this extremely easy for you. Basically, what we do is we jump on a webinar like this, a Zoom call. I pick your brain about your past. It's not an FBI kind of past thing, but hey, what did you do previously? What do you love about notes? How'd you get into it? Kind of that aspect. And then we dive into the case study for you to talk about. And then what we do is we take that video, we get it transcribed, and then we give it to our ghostwriter to edit. And then they put that into a uniform story. So you don't have to worry about trying to come up out of your head. I will interview you. And we've had some really great discussions. Laura Blanc did a great job. Who else? Lee Griggs, Chad Erbschott. Man, some great stuff out there all ready for you who we've interviewed so far. Don't worry, we're working to get through February and March for the chapters as far as the editing, but we're excited to have you. And this is going to be a cool project. But you know me, we're going to market this thing everywhere. We're going to be giving you electronic copies of the book besides some actual physical copies for you to have. This is going to be something that we use in our business on a regular basis, and we want to really help those authors out there that want to share it out there amongst everybody else. Every person that's got a chapter will interview on the Note Closer Show podcast. So you have your own episode dedicated to your chapter. And then, of course, the big thing, this is something you can give to potential private money investors or potential investors for you, but we're also going to distribute this to asset managers, people that we're buying from on a regular basis. Who wouldn't want to have their story and be featured in a book that is seen between, 3,000 and 5,000 asset managers out there? We'll also share this across REI clubs, meetups, conventions as we go to and attend. Opportunity for you to do the same thing as well. We're not asking $2,000 to $5,000. This is what it would normally go if you're dealing with somebody. We're doing it $5.99, basically bare bones. Get the chapter, get everything printed, edited, done, and see the value on the back end. I paid $10,000 to be in a chapter with Greg Reed, $5,000 for another chapter. Paid $600 to be in a chapter with somebody else. This is perfect for what we're looking for. So love to have you. All you've got to do is go to loantales.com. That's loantales.com. We've got a special group for you that once you get signed up for it, we'll send you a link or two to fill out your information, and schedule your thing. Now, don't worry. Hey, I got a deal you're working on. Great. We can dive into that and go with it as well. So beautiful thing is once we do your story, Ghostwriter puts it together so we have an even flowing story. Once they're finished with that, we'll kick it back to our chapters, authors, and you'll have a chance to review that, edit it, tweak it, add it or take away as you see fit. And then we'll look to get it published. So you can go to lonetails.com to RSVP your chapter today. All right. Any questions about that so far, everybody? I'm running out of water here already. Thought I had water in here. Questions, comments, concerns? All right, moving on up. So tonight's topic about the perfect pitch book is something that I see. I see so many investors that don't have their stuff together, and this comes primarily from the fact that you're coming from a spot where you had a previous job or previous experience where you didn't have to really kind of market yourself or market your business. Now, every time I get up and speak somewhere, I have a presentation. I have what I call kind of my own pitch book, whether it's me providing content or providing some nuggets for those that are listeners. And then obviously, there's the ask for, hey, you want to either sign up for my webinar or sign up for my classes, whatever it might be. I've got a pitch book. I'm used to put one together. And I think I sometimes take it for granted, but why should you consider putting together a pitch book of some sort? Why should you look at doing this? Well, it organizes really your discussion. It organizes your pitch. And I saw my buddy Brady Durr when we were in Dallas last Tuesday night, and Brady was walking around his portfolio, and he had like 5 different pages in there with case studies and exit strategy and things like that. And the beauty thing about it, he was sitting there trying to pitch somebody at a real estate club, and I think he was successful. Which if he was, kudos to you, Brady. It's awesome. But I also realized that a lot of people miss out on this opportunities on either like Bigger Pockets or LinkedIn that they just don't know how to say. And the thing about a pitch book is if it guides you like index cards, like a PowerPoint, it can really cleans up your presentation. So whether you're presenting to investors or asset managers, you're really able to deliver what you're talking about, share your experience. And there's a variety of ways you can use it, like posting on LinkedIn if you're dealing with other note investors, other real estate investors on there. If you've got a pitch book for those investors on some of the case studies and what your business is focused on. Same thing on Bigger Pockets. Our good buddies, I know like Wayne Snell has raised a couple million there. Adam Adams has done. I think Chris Savigny is using something. Paul Cooper, I think Dan Deppen. You guys are using some sort of pitch book, something you're recording. I was like, oh, that makes a whole lot of sense to have something that you can share. Many people, I think you got to have a pitch book for asset managers too. Many people aren't doing that with a short video, but hey, what your focus is. Because let's face it, everything is going to video these days. Whether you believe it or not, everything is going that way. We have such a short attention span in the world today that if anytime you can get a hold of somebody's eyes and share that information in a much more valuable aspect, it works well. And think about this too, everybody. When you're contacting new people on LinkedIn or contacting people on Bigger Pockets, there's only so much information you can put in there. And so having a video of something of you talking about what your business is focused on is a phenomenal thing. If you post it to YouTube, hey, you're going to get some amazing people. Or you can put it in your email signature as you're sending out to people you've met. Or things can be a phenomenal thing. All right. Something that can really help you separate yourself from the rest of the crowd. Now, I don't expect everybody to do that because I expect only about 10% of people or less to do something. But I think those that are on here tonight are going to get something really valuable as we dive into it. So let's talk about what goes into your pitch book. Okay. What should go into it? There's a variety of different things, and some people are going to have some good. Some are going to have different based on experiences. And your pitch book is going to pretty much tell a little bit about your business and tell about what you're doing. Now, one of the biggest pitch books I have ever seen is when I met with a realtor for the first time years ago, back in, golly, it would have been 2002 or 3. We were going to list our house for rent as we moved south Austin, and this realtor, Mike Cusimano, came in, a little small guy came in, and his pitch book was, I'm not joking, he had a 3-ring binder that was 4 inches thick, and he's flipping it all. And sometimes I was like, oh my gosh, it was just blown away with a pitch book. He had signs, he had all this huge pitch book. Before he's done, I was ready to get him to list it right there. And a lot of realtors do this. And people that are, we talked about, we had Sal Buscemi on from, it's not Dander Investments, but anyway, maybe it is again. But our buddy Sal gave a pitch book away as one of the episodes of the Note Closer show, a very generic PDF that you could like. You couldn't really go back in and edit it, but it gave you an idea. AQ12 okay, I don't know what that is. But anyway, so let's talk about what goes in your pitch book. You're going to have a little bit about your background, your education, some of your experiences. That's the beautiful thing is you can tailor this so it's about your strengths. Maybe you don't have a lot of experience, but you do have a background in real estate investing. Maybe you haven't done a lot of notes. That's fine. Hey, I've been a distressed mortgage or distressed real estate investor for 10 years, or I've got a MBA, I got a degree in business and a master's of education in real estate. Or, hey, I've been an active real estate investor for 20 plus years. Okay. You always also want to talk about what your focus is. And this is kind of what are you pitching, whether it's a deal or what you're focused on. Okay. You also can talk about your team. I think that's one of the most important things that a lot of people forget about. It's just not all about you. Your team, vendors, partners, affiliations you have, groups that you're part of. There's a whole variety of great things that you can do in what goes in your pitch book. I obviously talk about the opportunities, talk about the types of deals you're doing or the due diligence that you do extensively on things. That's always a great thing, especially if you're going into raising capital. And then talk about results. Hey, some of the performance that we've done, some of the case studies that we've gone through. Talk about good and bad incomes. A lot of people will talk about just the good, and that leaves a big elephant in the room. Well, what could go wrong? Hey, share about some of the things, the due diligence that you've done, and keep those in mind if anybody asks. Now, I've seen pitch books that have been very detailed and long. I think actually shorter have a better habit because I'm a big believer that if you're going to do a pitch book, especially digitally, like with a YouTube video or a PowerPoint thing like this, that you want to give some information, but you don't want to get diarrhea of the presentation. You don't want to throw up all the information on the people listening because then they have no reason to call you. Because you always want to go to the ask. Send me deals, fund my stuff. There's always a hook that should be. And sometimes a hook is, hey, contact me for more information. Hey, here's what we do. Contact me, because those that then contact you then are really interested. Those that you're like, oh, hey, here's my deal. They don't reach out to you. You don't know if they're interested or not. So sometimes less is a little bit more on stuff. But I think one of the best things you can always put on here is if you got a competitive advantage on things. Competitive advantage. Hey, here, I'm good at this because I know Columbus. I've lived in Columbus, Ohio for 20 years. Or I know Austin, Texas. Or I know we've got this huge database of asset managers. Okay. It'll vary a little bit, but everybody's got different competitive advantages. Pitch basics. I said before, keep it simple. KISS. Keep it simple and short. All right. I'm a big believer in the 10, 20, 30 model. And what I mean by that, 10 pages outside of your intro, your first page, which is probably your logo, is going to be 10 pages will equate about 20 minutes in content. And then the 30 aspect of it is you want stuff to be the posts, the words, like you see in my PowerPoint here, around at least 30-point font. You start getting below 30-point font, especially below 28, and you're squeezing too much information. You got to take the information off, either add a second slide or just make a mental note to ask that question. Ideally, I don't think your pitch should be longer than 20 to 30 minutes long. I think you need to keep it pretty much simple, straightforward. The idea here, more than anything else, is to gauge their interest and want to reach back out to you. Now, with us as note investors, there's basically two major facets that we're going to be doing. One is, hey, here's what I do in the note business. Here's what my business model is. Love to visit with you about you more. Maybe you'll potentially fund a deal or buy a deal from me. Or number two, pardon me. Number two is the whole, hey, asset manager, send me some stuff. All right. You're going to have primarily pretty much two different pitches for your pitch deck. And so that's the thing to keep in mind there. And I would highly recommend that before you film anything, you practice. Go through it a couple times. And it's easy. It's easier than it ever was before to film. You could use it via Zoom like this. You could go to webinar. You could use BeLive.tv, which is relatively easy. That'll link into Facebook. You could do a Google Hangout. There's a variety of different things here. I don't necessarily think you would use Facebook Live because there's no way to really share your screen or your images, but something simple. Like I said, it doesn't have to be long. 20, 30 minutes is ideally, if you can. But you also, one of the most important things, and I think a lot of people forget about this, is you want to have an easy call to action, a very easy call to action. Either A, here's a phone number, please give me a phone call. Or, hey, here's my email address, please jot this down. I'm a bigger fan of using one or two other things. So a link, something simple that they can remember. Like I like to put a link in there that they can go directly to an opt-in thing, either like a text message, like many of you have heard me talk about, text the word notes to Sunny 2000 or night to Sunny 2000, especially if it's people getting registered for the webinar. But it's also, if I'm not speaking publicly, I'm not going to be able to capture a lot of stuff, and maybe I don't have a table, but I have an audience in front of me. Hey, text the word notes to Sunny 2000. You'll get hours of our webinars and also a PowerPoint to kind of walk you through. Those are some easy things to add. Yes, it costs money for the services. Yes, but I think it's much better than, hey, take my phone number down and call me or email. I want something that they can click on that, hey, it's pretty simple. First name, last name, and a time if I can. And that's just some things out there as well. So what I thought I'd do tonight is I put together a pretty simple pitch book here based on us kind of reaching out to investors. All right. If you give me a second, I am going to need some water for this. So I will be right back. Hang on one second. Don't go anywhere. Grab a piece of paper, take some notes. All right. Sorry about that. All right. I had to go get some water. Sorry about that. All right. So what I'm going to do here right now, I'm pulling my phone out. I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to track how long it takes me to do this with a stopwatch. Okay. I'm going to hit start and go through this from the beginning to the end. And I'm actually going to record this right now. I'm going to record this right now and look to use this in my own business. So I'm going to use what I have in here to share on LinkedIn, on Bigger Pockets. I'll end up sharing it on YouTube separately, as well as a private link that I can share across the board. So keep your questions till the end, and would love to get your feedback at the end here. If I goof up, I goof up. I'm not really worried about it. Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Scott Carson, and I want to thank you for watching this short little video, but a little bit more about what I do in real estate investing. I've been an active real estate investor for quite some time. My company is WeCloseNotes.com, and I am excited to share with you what we're doing here at WCN. But first, who is Scott Carson? Who's this attractive guy here in the right hand with a huge melon on the head? I am the CEO of WeCloseNotes.com. I have been an active real estate investor since 2002. I'm a previous mortgage banker for years and also a financial advisor where I had all my securities licensed for a while. Well, actually, not for a while, but for several years. I absolutely love what I do. I was also kind of excited to be the 2014 Note Educator of the Year. It's one of the biggest honors I've received in the industry for what I do. I have been featured all across the internet in a variety of different periodicals, from the Investor's Business Daily. Wall Street Journal's quoted me. Inc.com has had me featured on their website in the past. You may have seen me speak at a variety of different events, where there's the National Realtors Association, the Think Realty Conference, the REI Expo, or different real estate investment clubs across the country on a pretty regular basis. Like I say, I've spoken a lot on a specific topic of note investing, and I guess you could say I'm a little bit of an expert on here, but I have the most important thing here to keep in mind is I have been buying commercial and residential debt since 2007. I've been doing this over a decade. And so I am one of the premier experts in my field when it comes to buying and investing in distressed debt, whether it's residential or commercial. But what is and who is WeCloseNotes.com? What is that? Well, we're an Austin, Texas-based real estate investing, and we have an education side of what we do as well. WeClose Notes was originated in 2010 with the sole focus of buying and selling non-performing notes, as we call them, NPNs. And when you see me talk about NPNs, that's what I mean, non-performing notes. And what we do is we deal directly with banks and hedge funds. We're not going out and posting bandit signs or mailing postcards or things like that to banks. How and where we find our deals is that we go direct. We go direct to the source on a variety of different banks and hedge funds across the country that provide us portfolios. In the last 10 years, we've purchased over $1 billion in debt. Yep, that's billion with a B. And we've, that's been primarily for our own portfolio. And like I said before, we do have an education side to our business, and we've been honored to be teaching other real estate investors how to buy and sell and invest in non-performing notes as well. Our sole focus as a company, as I mentioned before, is buying distressed debt from banks at big discounts. This is one of the biggest things out there. We like that focus. We're not doing a variety of other things. That's our sole focus. And our goal is, when we buy this debt, is we become the bank. We have all the same rights that the bank does in foreclosing and working out with the homeowners or the operators if it's a commercial property. We have a lot of flexibility in what we can do. We prefer mortgages on underwater owner-occupied assets. We do buy some assets with some equity, but we're usually buying at such a substantial discount that we're okay. But we're buying primarily in primary and secondary markets in the states of Ohio, Michigan, Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas, Indiana, Missouri, and Kansas, just to name a few. We bought in over 30 states in our over 10 years of experience, but primarily in today's market, that's where we're buying the most. And most of the primary and secondary markets in those states are kind of our guideline. I guess you could say our sweet spot is going to be assets on single family homes that are valued between $50K and $250K. We're usually not going above that, because we like to stay in that really kind of beginner buyer market for the most part. We want to make sure we're fishing in a big pond. And then on the commercial side, we are looking at notes, properties that are worth at least $250,000 up to about $1 million in value. Now, the great thing, that seems to be the best sweet spot that we have found, especially on the commercial side, with banks wanting to get rid of their stuff at a discount. Same thing with the residential stuff. We like to try to stay above $50,000 value. That may be just a doghouse in California or here in Austin, but it could be a really nice property in other parts of the country, like Michigan, Indiana, some of those places. So that's kind of our sole focus sweet spot, buying stuff from the banks That kind of fits in its wheelhouse. That's where most of our stuff is. I will tell you what we are not, what we aren't. All right. We are not a wholesaler. We're not a wholesale investor where we're just putting stuff under contract and flipping it off for a flat fee. We are not a fix and flipper. We actually do not like to do rehabs. That doesn't mean we don't have that happen from time to time, but that's not our primary goal. We are not a landlord. I do not want to deal with toilets and tenants and trash outs. We are not a joker broker. We're not just taking stuff that we see online or we get from somebody else and spam it all across the internet. That is not what we aren't. I mean, that is what we aren't. We are not these things, all right? We're not a joker broker just trying to make something. That's not what we are, okay? What we are is that we are always buying for our own portfolio first and foremost. We are always buying for our own portfolio. We're always looking for a deal that we can add to our portfolio. Now, that's not saying that we may buy in bulk and move a few assets to some of our friends and colleagues, but we're always buying for our own portfolio first. And as I like to say, we're trying to turning problem properties into profitable solutions. There's a lot of distressed borrowers out there that we can pick up stuff at a price that makes sense and really create not only a win for us and the borrowers, but also a win for the banks and the hedge funds that have this on their books they're looking to get rid of. It's also, of course, a win for our investors. Now, we've got a very experienced in-house team. You've heard a little bit about me, over 10 years experience, bachelor's in business and marketing from Texas State University. And like I said, I've been an active investor for quite some time. I've got an amazing team, starting first with our VP of Operations and Events, Stephanie Goodman. Stephanie's been with me, going on about 7 years, background in short sales, and just does a tremendous job, not only an active investor herself, but does a great job running our in-house operations and our other events. We have Shannon Steele, who is our in-house marketing manager. She handles a lot of our online marketing, our social media, does a tremendous job with that. She's a graduate of Texas A&M University. Stephanie went to Columbus State University out of Georgia. Shannon's from that other school in College Station out there. Hazel Rivera is a portfolio manager. Hazel's got quite a few years of experience in the portfolio management side of working with the borrowers, working with distressed borrowers. She actually came over to us after several years of working at Madison Management, which is a servicing company. It's actually our premier and featured servicer that we use. She was actually managing our portfolio and was able to hire away, and she's been with us for some time now and does a great job of being kind of liaison between the borrowers and Madison Management and kind of reporting back to where we are on our existing portfolio. Angel Maldonado, she's in charge of our accounting and books. She comes into our office about once a month and works through everything and keeps everything, all the numbers kind of buttoned up. We also have outside of Austin, we have Rosie Villeda. She's a marketing assistant that helps us out on special projects and other things. So we've got a pretty experienced in-house team that really help us keep that boutique feel, but also be lean, mean, and a really nice note buying machine, because we rely a lot on our vendors and our extended team of professionals that are out there. And these are just a few of our professionals that we work with, the team and the vendors that we use. Our biggest one, like I mentioned, is Madison Management out of New Jersey. They're an amazing servicer, and the servicer is the person that's sending out statements and reaching out to the borrowers and collecting payments and making sure that we're Dodd-Frank and CFPB compliant, so we're not violating laws in the debt collection side of our business. Singer Law Group, if we've got borrowers that are a pain to deal with or being more aggressive and not wanting to pay, great. Madison will handle some of the foreclosure work out, but we prefer to send it to, as what we like to call, SEAL Team Singer. They're the really just an amazing group of individuals over there. And it's always nice when a law firm is working on your behalf that's contacting your borrowers. The borrowers seem to take a little bit more of a, oh crap, I really need to do something now, when they get in phone calls or letters from our attorney's office. And Singer Law Group is out of Irvine, California. They are working in a variety of states. Singer Law Group, Daniel Singer, who runs that, has done over 60,000 foreclosures and a ton of other modifications, with previous working with Citibank and handling a lot of the Citibank services back in the day. But Daniel Singer, Matt Gillette, Joel Markovitz work over there are a phenomenal and a very key component to the success of our deals. One of the great companies that we also work with is Pro Title USA. Alex Godofsky is the owner and CEO of Pro Title USA. This is the company that's actually providing O&E reports for all the Fannie Mae note trades that you may have heard about in the news. They're the company that we use to do title reports, title updates to see what kind of things are hanging around these assets as we're getting ready to buy these. Ross Diversified Insurance, Ed and Mel Bobkis out of Orange County, California. They're our insurance carrier. We do put insurance on our assets. We'll cover a little bit more of that later, but they do this all across the country. It's nice having a one-stop shop. And they're very familiar with the note business and insuring of distressed notes, whereas not every other type of insurance company is familiar with that. We've also got some really great other friends and vendors. Laughlin Associates, a vendor that we use for a lot of our asset protection as far as entity structuring and making sure everything's on board. And then we also are a big fan of our friends, Jillian Sadati and Gene Trowbridge at crowdfundinglawyers.net. They're out of Temecula, California. As we're doing and growing our business, they're a firm that we use quite a bit to bounce ideas off of, and also refer quite a bit of business to them from other investors out there looking to take their business to different levels and really raise a lot of capital. But we could not do what we do on a continued basis, not only with our in-house team, but also our team of extended professionals. And of course, we've got realtors and vendors across the country in different markets for people that we work with, different law firms that we're using to foreclose, or different realtor teams that are helping us not only on the valuation side of when we're looking at assets, but also on the liquidation side when we take an asset back and look to sell it as well. We rely very heavily on our team. Now, our deal focus, people are curious, what's our focus? What's our kind of our deal focus? And so I'll do a quick recap. Property values, $50,000, $250,000 in value. That's on the single family residential. We avoid long foreclosure markets. And what I mean by that, we avoid really the New York, the New Jerseys when we see deals. Those areas just take way too long to foreclose. We're not opposed to a 12-month foreclosure, but really anything getting over 12 months just does not make sense for us in the long run. We prefer occupied assets with payment history. If we can buy an asset where the person is living in it, it's usually in better condition. If they made some sort of payment attempt or some sort of payment history in the last 12 months, it's usually a good sign that we can get them back on track. And we see about a 50% modification rate or trial payment plan we can put in place when it's an occupied asset with a payment history. Now, when we're buying notes, that doesn't always work with getting it reperforming. We'll often offer up cash for keys for usually what it would cost us to foreclose. Our goal is to try to take that asset back as fast as possible if the borrower can't make payments and get rocking and rolling. So that happens about a quarter of the time. Unfortunately, we do end up foreclosing. Borrowers will just not be responsive. They will not return mail. We've had some interesting stories along the way with our vendors serving them, trying to get them to work with us. Unfortunately, foreclosure is just going to happen in this business. And we try to maintain a 30% or less foreclosure ratio. We often find that if we can take what we would be paying in foreclosure costs and offer it as a cash incentive to the borrowers, they're usually willing to do something with us. Okay. If we do have to take the asset back, we try to price that asset to sell. We're not going to try to squeeze it every dollar out of it at 100% or more. We do not want to owner finance the assets for the most part. We do not want to turn them into rentals for us. Our biggest goal, if we do have to take up an asset back, is price the asset to sell. That may require us to do a little bit of rehab to it, but we have a tendency to avoid heavy rehab, especially from a long distance. Just doesn't make sense for us. It's not the best use of our time. And often it makes more sense for us to move the asset, get the money back in, and then double down and do it again and again. So give you a brief synopsis of a lot of the assets that we're targeting and what we're looking for. Our big focus, obviously, is to buy notes that we can buy and reperform. This is an asset in Fort Worth, Texas. We bought at roughly 48% of the unpaid balance. It was well below market value. You wish every borrower was like this. First phone call, first letter out, they responded and started reperforming on time. And the return is extremely well. They've been performing on time for 6 months straight. We expect to see another at least 6 months of performance before we look around to sell that asset off somewhere between 80 and 85% of value. And we bought it below 50%. So it's going to be a good return, not only on the cash flow for us, we choose to keep it, but also if we sell it off to a fund, a bank, or a investor looking for performing notes, it's going to be a good return and a true win-win across the board for us. I mentioned sometimes that we get assets back. This was an asset that we thought was going to be a reperforming asset. Everything that we looked at in the collateral files showed that it was occupied. Online due diligence showed that it was in clean condition. Actually, the borrower was trying to rent the property out literally 3 months before we came across this asset. We bought this asset at $44,000. It was valued about 100, 110. Bought the asset, got the collateral file from the bank. We opened it up, and there was a signed deed in lieu of foreclosure, literally right there in the top of the file. So lucky for us, the hedge fund didn't do a lot of work on the collateral files. We did. We went and we're very, very happy. We filed the deed in lieu after the assignment was recorded, transferring ownership to us. Property needed very little work, a little bit of landscaping. We're able to get basically almost a full price offer at $100,000 within 60 days and get the property sold. So that was a really great win-win across the board. We'll see apartment notes as well. And sometimes apartments can be a little bit trickier, or a commercial asset be a little bit longer, to deal with because you have longer foreclosures or stuff that drag out a little bit. This is a small apartment complex that actually a hedge fund reached out to us to talk about buying. And it took us over 120 days of negotiating back and forth until we finally got the right price on this asset. Value somewhere just south of 300. We picked this up, this 8-unit in West Palm Beach, Florida, for $175. It was almost fully occupied, but we were able to take it over in receivership thanks to the court granting us receivership. And then we were then able to reach out, start collecting the rents. Once we started collecting the rents, the borrower was much more willing to work with us. They were able to walk away. And we actually sold this at the foreclosure auction 8 months later after collecting 8 months of rent for $310,000 for a nice $135,000 profit on a roughly $175,000 investment. Wish they were all like that. That's not always the case, but we see a lot of opportunity in that smaller commercial note market. It's not quite ideally for a large bank or a large fund, but there's a lot of great little base hits, single, doubles, and triples, and sometimes some home runs if you're willing to roll up your sleeves and do some due diligence on it. So great thing is we've made a lot of connections with different banks and hedge funds that send us different lists on a pretty regular basis, whether it's a one-off asset or they've got a portfolio they're looking to move. So we feel very blessed to have those type of relations that we do with. And then we're also buying different loan portfolios and pools. This is just a small snapshot of 12 assets out of a portfolio of 60 that we bought last year. These were all non-performing, but they were all occupied assets. We were very lucky. We got them at a heck of a steal of a deal, and over 65% of these have been in performance of some sort, with a nice chunk of them actually performing on time after 90 days. We've held on to it for a while. We're in the process of moving them now as reperforming assets, and we love buying portfolios because it allows for us to really have a lot more bang for our buck, but it also gives us a much better discount, a higher discount, especially because we're taking over a sizable portfolio. Now, I wish all the assets looked good. Some of them didn't look the greatest, but that's okay. We were able to evaluate those assets and write off really the ones that didn't make any sense for us, or basically give it a zero value when we end up buying the portfolio. This is really a truly win-win scenario when we're buying portfolios because it allows for the bank to get stuff off their books. It gives us the opportunity to buy something at an even sizable, larger discount, but also give us really kind of help spread the risk out across the portfolio when we're buying loans. If we have one or two assets across 10 that kind of get rough or a longer drawn out foreclosure, it's okay because we're often pretty able to and easy to reach out the rest of the borrowers to get some sort of performance or cash or keys like we talked about. So, but this is one of the things we try to close on at least 1 to 2, maybe 3 large portfolios a year. In the last few years, we have bought quite a few assets, and these are in different areas. Like I talked about the states that we're looking for. This is not all of it's in one state, but that's okay because we have relationships and a great network of people across the country that really help us. Give you an idea of some of the markets and the places that we're buying in. Here's a kind of a quick view of a chunk of our portfolio, with the dots, the different colored dots representing different things that are going on with the asset, whether it's red for foreclosure, orange for loan mods, blues are either brand new ones or they're in the process of deeding and lieuing or giving us the property back. This is just a chunk of our portfolio. And then here's another portfolio of stuff that we purchased in the last 12 months. Yes, we're constantly buying assets. And this is just a great, kind of a great overview. You can see that we're buying. Yes, we're buying a lot kind of east of the Mississippi if we can, but we're not afraid to go out west if the numbers make sense. Unfortunately, a lot of times the stuff further out west, California, Oregon, Washington, Arizona, Nevada, are often a little higher priced because those are very hot markets for investors in California, those areas. We like to tend to stay where we see the biggest bang for the buck and get the biggest ROI for us. All right. Now, one thing, and we've covered it a little bit here, there's a couple things that are important to keep in mind. The thing is, 6 important things to keep in mind is our number one goal is always try to rehab the borrower. We don't try to go into something, hey, we're going to foreclose and kick the borrower out immediately. That's not what we look at. And honest, to tell you the truth, early on in my note investing career, that was my main focus, and I left a lot of money sitting on the table by doing that. If we can get the borrower to rehab, if we can get them to get started back on time, this allows for us to save money on attorney fees, reduce our servicing costs. It also saves us money on the back end where we don't have to foreclose and then fix the property up to get it in a nice condition. If somebody's taking care of the property and living in the property, that's a win for us. We're not going to pay taxes, less on the foreclosure costs and less on repair costs because somebody's living in it. Like I said, we only buy first liens. We're not buying junior liens. We're not buying seconds. We're not buying lines of credit. We only buy first liens. We want to be in control of the asset. We want to be in that first lien position so that the only thing that can technically wipe us out would be taxes, but that's one of the things that we're checking during our due diligence. We're only buying below market values. We're not going to be paying close to retail. We don't do that. I say 70% or less in here because there's a few situations that will go up to 70% in faster foreclosure markets like Texas and Georgia. But for the most part, it's below 70% of current as is market value, not ARV, not after repair value, but we're buying below current market values. Big thing too is we rely a lot on our vendors. They're reviewing files and they're also pulling title for us. We always have a very clear due diligence system that we go through when we're reviewing before we pull the trigger on an asset. If an asset does not match up to snuff what we're looking for, we'll boot that asset out and move on. But we've got some very clear and specific lists that we go through, KPIs and steps that we go through when we're doing due diligence, especially in a portfolio. There's a lot of moving parts, but we're very blessed to have some amazing vendors that help make it easy for us. One thing to keep in mind too is that we're not the actual people reaching out to the borrowers. I think a lot of people think that we're going to be the persons out knocking on doors or making phone calls and they're not paying on time. That's not the best use of our time. It's also not the best use of our investment dollar. We rely very heavily on Madison Management, Singer Law Group, different law offices across the country to handle not only the servicing, but the borrower outreach. And if we do have to foreclose, let them handle it. It's not saying we don't get phone calls from our borrowers from time to time, trying to stay in the property, and we'll make some changes accordingly if it makes sense. But a lot of times, we've given the borrower multiple options to stay in the house, and by the time we start the foreclosure process, we've exhausted our measures of trying to keep them in the house. 6, we do place insurance on the assets, so God forbid something happens, act of God, we've got Ross covering our assets, literally, out there. And if the borrower shows that they have insurance, great, we'll remove it, but most of the time we're putting forced place insurance. And one of the beautiful things is that Ross Diversified also works very well with Madison Management. So the two work very easy. Same thing with the law office of Daniel Singer. They work very well with Madison Management. The team, as I say, it's a team because they all work together. They can pick up the phone and call. We've given permission for Madison to be communicating with the Singer Law Group and vice versa. So it's a beautiful, beautiful thing when things are working here. So what are we looking for? Why are you watching this thing tonight or today or afternoon? What are we looking for? Well, we're looking for potential funding partners. We're always looking to raise more capitals. We're closing on more deals. We deal with people who have cash, savings, 401k. We do a lot with self-directed IRA accounts. Actually, Quest Trust Company out of Houston, Texas is our preferred self-directed IRA company. We do a lot with them. Very proud of actually all the education that they provide. Some of our investors are students out there as well. They're just a phenomenal company. If you don't have your accounts with them, that's fine, but we'll want to talk to see if you do need to open up some self-directed accounts to really take advantage of some of the tax advantages. We're looking for real estate investors looking for an above average returns. It's one of the big things out there too. Whether you're a tired landlord who doesn't want to deal anymore with toilets, tenants, and trash outs, you're an REO investor who can't find deals below 90, 95 cents on the dollar. We don't, you're tired of fighting weekend warriors at the foreclosure auctions for stuff. Fix and flippers who are tired of flipping, or in a lot of cases flopping, because the price just doesn't make sense like it used to. We're looking for a variety of people. More important, we're looking for people who want to put their certificate of disappointments, their CDs, their IRAs to work. They really want, like I said, to see an above average return for their money. We'd love to work with you. I would love to talk with you, see if you're fit for what we're doing, and go from there. And I encourage you, let's continue the conversation. I appreciate you spending a few minutes of your afternoon, your day, watching this video. And I'd love to continue the conversation for you. I'd love to discuss your goals and expectations, what you're looking for in your investments, whether it's real estate or traditional. I'd love to literally discuss that. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, not everyone is not always a fit for what we do. And I think that's a good thing. I think you want to work with people that are going to be picky about who they work with. And if we feel it's just not a fit, I'll be the first one to tell you, and we can part as friends and go from there, or maybe refer you to somebody else that might be a better fit for whatever your expectations are. The beautiful thing is we have a huge Rolodex of professionals that can help you find something that meets what your expectations and what your goals are. If you are a fit, we're glad to discuss some available opportunities with you, because we always have deals that we're working through, deals that we're buying that maybe we funded with our own funds. We're looking to arbitrage our funds out and put our money back in the market, or vice versa. We're not talking an hour long. We're usually talking like a 30-minute conversation or less. I'd encourage you, if you go to this link, scottthenoteguycarson.com, that'll take you directly to my Calendly link, and you'll be able to pick a 30-minute session that works for your schedule along with mine, and we can spend some time there discussing, like I said, this more in depth. I'm sure you're going to have some questions, and we'd be glad to answer any question that you might have during that session. As always, you can drop me an email at scott@weclosenotes.com, or you can send me a text message at 512-585-3810. Usually text is a better way to reach me that way. I am traveling quite a bit with different things that we're working on, either portfolios or speaking engagements. And so text or an email is often the best way. A lot of times voicemails I miss with travel, but text message or email, or schedule a direct 30 minutes with me at scottthenoteguycarson.com. But I look forward to hopefully continuing the conversation and seeing if we can't help each other create a win-win scenario for you, for me, and our borrowers. As always, you can check out weclosenotes.com as our main website as well. Any questions? All right, everybody, that was exactly, just so you see here, start to finish, which I expected. Whoop, here, hang on here. 27 minutes and 33 seconds. So just under 28 minutes. Like I said, it was 15 slides. It turned into roughly about 30 minutes of information there. It's about the third or fourth time I practice it. I'd love to hear what your feedback is. If you guys liked that, if you disliked it, had any questions about things. That's how you do it. Great job. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. Yeah, I've given a similar presentation like this for quite a bit. Great content, fabulous. Let's see here. So I have to leave the cast Austin to make it so much more sense to do a little bit more up front. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, everybody. If you spend a little bit more time on the front end of putting a pitch book together, it will pay dividends in the long run. As I said, and I say this all the time, if you can have one conversation or film one video and record it, you can get it out to the masses, and then that leads back into having those one-on-one conversations. The old way of going out and shaking hands, I get it. Look, there's times I want to meet people in person as well, and I try to do that as best as possible. But in today's world, especially if you're buying in a variety of different assets in different states and different cities, you may not always have the availability to meet somebody one-on-one for coffee. Now, you can with Zoom, which is like this, which is one of the things that we'll often do for investors if they reach out to us. Hey, let's schedule a Zoom call. Let's jump on it. Let's talk face-to-face. Did that last week alone a couple of times. The idea is just to get a feel for what we're doing and really share some things. People are going to have questions. By all means, 27 minutes is not designed to be the be-all, give-all when it comes to understanding people. So that's the big thing that I want you guys to keep in mind. Now, how many of you are going to go do something? That's the question I want to ask next. How many are actually going to go do something and put together your own pitch book? Teresa says, what would you say your close rate is? I've got a really good close rate. I haven't kept track of it, Teresa, but anytime I've met with somebody and talked with them, our close rate's pretty good. Okay. Christina says, it was excellent. Wouldn't mind transcribing some of what you said for my own pitch book. Such a great, concise, capitalized explanation of what we do. So one of the things, good stuff, Teresa, is here's the thing going back. If people have gone through our virtual workshops before, we've always had those sample deals that we provide, right? There's three. One's a deed in lieu REO, one's a modification, and then one's a longer foreclosure. Thing to keep in mind is those deals have always closed. I mean, those deals have always done well for people because it's a good mixture of thing. Wayne asked that I felt the white lettering on green was a little hard to watch. It wasn't bad, but thought other combination might be better. Maybe yellow lettering. You know what? I don't think yellow lettering would blend in too much, but maybe black versus the white. Thank you for sharing that, Wayne, though. Phil says, when will you have a note class near California? Guys, I don't do note classes for the most part. It's a rare thing. I'm doing a lunch and learn with Tyler Chef in Orlando for 4 hours before the Podfest. We're just trying to kill two birds with one stone. We do everything online. All right. One of the great things, you guys, we do pretty good. Whoops, somebody else said something there. I missed it. Helene says that this makes it much clearer for both the presenter and the potential investor. It does. The idea is now, hey, let's schedule a phone call. Let's schedule a conversation, a webinar. Hey, if you're local, let's meet for coffee. That's what it comes down to. Somebody asked what my contact information was. I'll go back one slide here. There's my contact information. You have to go Scott, the note guy Carson. That will literally take you to my Calendly link. And it's so easy. So if you click on this, this is one of the things. If you're somebody who's watching a presentation, you want to make it easy for them to connect with you. So they oh, come on. Why is this not working? This is supposed to be, I just literally, oh, I have one too many. No, all right. ScottCarson.com. That should be working. Scott, the note guy Carson. That should be working. Huh. I'll have to get that working. Anyway, going back here to the presentation. Otherwise, just drop me an email, Scott. This is why you want to have multiple things working. Thank you, Dwayne. Dwayne says you're welcome. So the lunch and learn, Teresa will be covering different content, raising capital, case studies a little bit. Tyler will be talking about raising capital quite a bit. I'll be talking about finding deals. It's a 5-hour thing. We're expecting to have quite a few people turn out for it because it's in Orlando and there's such a great group of people in Todd LaPierre's Orlando Note Closure Group, and also at Nahir's event and her group in Tampa as well. All right. Any other questions though about the actual pitch deck? Now I know some people, oh, I could do that, but are you going to? That's the big thing. Are you actually going to do this? Probably not for a lot of you. So one of the things that we're doing, for those that are part of our actually WCN membership, I'm going to actually take out the pitch book part of that and put that into the WCN membership members, and you have that copy to do. I won't be posting the PowerPoint anywhere, but we're glad to help you create your own pitch book. If you need a 10 to 15 pager one, we'll help you put it together with sample deals. We'll help you kind of color match it up. If you've got a logo, great. We'll include that in there for you. If you need a logo, we'll help create that for you. But we'll take it one step further for you as well. Besides just creating it, we'll literally go online and help you record your own 30-minute video and help you upload it to YouTube. And then help you with the optimization of making sure it's got everything on there that you need. Will you get a copy of the seminar? If you're in the WCN membership, yeah, you will. I'll create one for you on that. It's pretty easy for you to create a second one. We can tweak it and edit a little bit, but it won't be difficult as well. But yeah, we'll help you out with that. $99 we're doing for that. Pretty easy to do. Help out with those that are interested. Notepitch.com. Like I said, if you're in the WCN membership, we'll literally upload the PowerPoint to that. We won't be sharing that anywhere else. But if you want to really help and want us to kind of put our spin on it and help you tweak it and add some sample deals outside of your own, we're glad to do it for you. Like I said, very simple, 99 bucks to help you out with that. All you got to do to sign up for it is go to notepitch.com. And let's hope, for the love of God, that you get it. Yeah, if you're WCN membership, awesome. You're sitting pretty good. You got the nuts and bolts of the bones. You can run with it. But if you want some extra help, it's going to take us a little bit of time to do that for you, but not too difficult. We just want to add to our membership. Dennis has a question. When a person responds to your pitch, do you vet them first to see if they are sophisticated or accredited before you talk numbers? If somebody reaches out to me, I'm going to ask some questions. Hey, what have you invested in? You know, I'm going to ask some questions over the phone. I'm not going to send them an investor profile sheet to fill out immediately, because that's kind of, hey, you're interested? Hey, here, let me look at everything. That's like literally talking to a girl and asking her out on a date and then asking her, hey, strip down. I need to measure everything. I need to see. That's not a cool thing. You want to talk with them. And then if we feel like they're a fit personality-wise, then I'll send them an investor profile sheet and then fill it all out. And then we'll go from there. So I don't mind talking some of the numbers that we work through, but I'm going to want to make sure before we do anything, before they see any agreement, before they see anything, that they're going to end up filling out an investor profile sheet. But I'm glad to talk with them. Hey, I'll give anybody 30 minutes. Just because somebody's not a sophisticated or accredited investor now doesn't mean they're not going to be one in the future. Does that make sense, Dennis? Remind me the website for the chapter in the book. Loan Tales. Sorry, yeah, notetails.com, Beth. All right. But that's what I've got for you tonight, everybody. I'd love to help you out with that. Our staff would be glad to help you out there, kind of get things rocking and rolling, because we see opportunities in this. Think about this. This is something you can use when you're reaching out to asset managers. You can attach either the pitch book with it or a short video link. They can watch it, learn a bit more about what you're doing, or you're talking with other investors. Something you could maybe send out on a postcard. Hey, check out a little bit, learn a bit more about what we do. Go to this link. Some really cool things that you can do to help you maximize the opportunities and really make some things happen for you. Okay. WCNmembership.com, Helena. WCNmembership.com is a link to get signed up for the WCN membership. All right. You're welcome. You're welcome. It's not too difficult, Bill, to create a second one. We can basically copy and then basically be changing just a few slides. So yeah, if you need one for asset managers, great. One for investors, great. Pretty easy to do for you because it's basically the same nuts and bolts. All right. Any other questions? Like I said, if you go to notepitch.com, that should be working. If not, then just drop me an email and we'll get you rocking and rolling. Thanks, Colleen. Hope you enjoyed it. That's all that I've got for you this evening on Note Night in America. Hopefully this is valuable for you all. Like I said, check us out at notepitch.com, and we'll get you rocking and rolling over the next few weeks for you. All right. Otherwise, have a great evening. Thanks for joining us here on Note Night in America, and we'll see you all at the top, everybody. Bye. Thanks, Teresa.